This is the SEAMM GUI. This area on the right here is where we're going to build a flowchart, and on the left are the plugins. They're grouped by types of things that they do, so data and simulations and so forth. So here are the engines, lamps, Mopac and Psi at the minute. There's some various things for building up here. And then there's one thing for force field here. If I click on one of these, like I just did, I will get something up that will bring up a step in the flowchart. And if I right click on that, I can edit the force field that we are going to use. Okay. And when I right click, I get up an appropriate dialog and so forth with what I can do here. I can use OpenKim, or I could use a valence force field, for instance. So let's just get rid of that dialog. Now let's run a quantum calculation. It's a little easier than a force field and it will get us started. So let's run something with Mopac. Okay, so we are going to open up Mopac. I double click that time. Mopac has its own language, so it has a flowchart. And all we wish to do is optimize the structure. So we double click and we get a choice of a Hamiltonian, for instance, PM7. There's quite a goodly choice of Hamiltonians in Mopac. PM7 is fine. Convergence criteria, how we're going to do the optimization, let's just leave it defaults. So now we have our calculation set up. But I made a mistake here. I mean, we don't really need a force field, so let's get rid of that. And I will do that by right-clicking and saying delete it. But what we do need is a structure. We can't run Mopac on nothing. So let's bring in a from step that creates a structure from smiles. And we will put in ethanol here, leave everything else the same. So now we've created a structure. But if you notice, this from smile step is not connected to Mopac, so it won't know to go there to run Mopac. But I can click here, drag down, and if you note, the dots become large red ones, and then I have Mopac. Now I can also drag these around and make myself a very ugly looking flowchart, but if I want to clean it up, I can just hit clean layout or Command C that does the same thing, and now I have a nice well laid out flowchart. Now we want to run this. The way we do that is we come in and we say run. That brings up a dialog for submitting the job. We get to choose where to, localhost, multi-10, localhost is this machine, that's perfectly fine. Which project we wish to put it in. I'm going to put it in a development project just so I don't clutter the space up. And then a title in here, Mopac optimization of methanol with PM7. That was actually left over. If I'd come in the first time, it would have been blank. That was left over from when I tried this out to make sure it works. Now, submit, click OK, and that will submit it. Now we go to the web browser and access the dashboard, localhost 5000 in this case. And let's refresh our jobs list. There's our job, Mopac optimization of methanol with PM7. It's finished. It was a very quick job. So if we click on the job itself, we get a list of files and so forth. If we click on one of those, we get whatever it is. So in this case, that's the structure of the ethanol that we've optimized. Job.out will have a summary of what was going to be done at the beginning. For a long job, it's nice to see what's going to happen, and then it will show you what actually happens as it runs the flowchart. So here is the building from the smiles, making a structure with 9 atoms, Mopac optimized 21 iterations, heat of formation, and then it wrote the final structure out and gives us references for SEAMM itself, for Mopac, and for the optimization algorithm used in Mopac. If we come down a little further and go into the directory corresponding to Mopac, which was step 2 here, we can see the input file that goes into Mopac, the output and various other files coming out of Mopac, so we can see all of the detail if we wish.